Okay guys, so it's time to paint. I have this whole set of brushes. I'm going to start with these two here. It's a little bit sharper ones. There's also this really tiny one here, so I may keep this one around also. Okay, so we got that. I was going to mix some colors, but I picked up another set of these acrylic paints. They're kind of inexpensive, so I hope they're good quality, but they have some pre-mixed ones already. So for example, they have this light apricot color, and I put some on this palette that I got. Where is this up here? It's a clear palette, and I'll put a link for all the stuff that I bought in the description below. And if you can see, that's the light apricot color, so I think I might be able to use that in the skin. And then for the shadows, because if you look at the original picture, these darker shadows, I'm going to try mixing in maybe a little bit of red or a little bit of brown, because we have to do, it's going to be reverse order, so all the shading has to be done first, like the shaded areas. Also on the hair, like the lighter areas here. On the hand, these darker areas first. The face, there's a little bit of gray shading on the teeth and the eye and whatnot. So that's what I'm going to do first, is all the shading areas, and then layer by layer we do the next. After it dries, we have to wait probably, I would say, 10 minutes, a good 10 minutes, 15 minutes, let it dry, and then do the next layer. So for example, if you do the hand, I would start with all these dark areas first, because that's going to be what shows on the first layer, and then behind that, after these parts dry, the dark areas, I'm going to paint the base skin tone. I don't think I have the ability or skill to draw the flames right now, so I'm just going to do a basic. This is my first one. I'm just going to do a basic painting of the body, the skin tone, and then the clothing and whatnot. So I'm going to try to keep it really basic, and then hopefully as I do more and more of these, I can start getting fancier. So let me start mixing some of the paints on the palette, and we'll start painting. So first thing I'm going to do is, let's start with the grays, the teeth. See here on the teeth and the eye area, right here in the teeth, and then the upper eye. There's a little bit of gray. It's hard to see there, but it's a little hint of gray on the top of the eye. So let me see what this. There's a gray here, and if you want to mix colors, I'll put the link to Casey's video where he does some tutorials on mixing colors if you don't have the ready-made colors. It looks a little bit dark to me, so I'm going to add a little bit of white, just a drop of white here, and then let's mix it together and see how that comes out. So this is the first time I'm actually mixing colors, and I don't know. I'm not a pro at this, just keep that in mind. So still seems a little bit dark to me, so I'm going to a little bit more white. Mix, mix, mix. My first try at the paint. So I'm going to put a little bit of gray. I don't know if I put too much. Here. And then as it dries, I'll flip it over so we can see. I'm not adding more paint yet because there's a very thin gray at the top of the eyes here. So yeah, actually it's enough paint on there because I can see it. I think you can see it there. Yeah. Okay, so I think that's all the gray there was. I used too much gray actually now that I think of it. Actually, there's a little bit of gray here. So I'll put some grays there too. Oh yeah, I can use some gray on the pants, the fluffy part of the pants also. I forgot about that. I can put some on the buttons actually. Okay, so let's flip it over. And as you can see, it's too thin. I can see light going through those areas. So I'm going to do another coat on top. So let's do that. Okay, while we let this dry, I'm going to do some of the highlights in the hair here. So I got this raw sienna. So let's see how that looks. It looks a little dark to me. So I don't know if I want to add, I'll add a little bit of white to it, I guess. Because I'm not going to put, like on the picture it has more of a yellowish look because of the flames. But since I'm not adding the flames, I just want to put some highlight. Oh, I'm using my brush to mix it. I should have been using the knife, but it's okay now. Mix, 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 mix. And this time I'm putting just a little bit to make sure that I use just the right amount. If I need to add more, I'd rather add more than use too much. You know what I mean? So this might be too thick, but it's fine. It needs to be thick anyway. So let me move my paint tray. Okay, yeah, it's coming out very thin anyway, so that's okay. So I'm just adding the thick layer here. And maybe I need a thinner, smaller brush for this. The problem with this is you need to put like a glob on there, so it's hard to really control it in a small area, contained area, you know what I mean? So I'm doing the best I can to make sure the lighter area really stays in there, and then also has enough paint on there to be thick enough. Okay. All right. So let's see. Just keep going. Okay, now I'll also paint this too, since I'm already doing the brown. Actually, I did realize that I can't paint the whole thing. I gotta do the dark shadows, so I'm doing a little bit darker brown here in this area. While this was drying, I was just trying to add another layer there. And now we'll go for the darker skin tones. Okay, so now for the skin tone, I have a link below on how to mix it if you don't have these colors. But I'm going to use this light apricot, and I'm going to put a little bit of this raw sienna in there. If you wanted to make the skin color, I have the link below to Casey's video on how to mix it. These areas first, the shaded areas. On the face, the shaded area by the nose and the eye and by the hair. So that's what I'm going to do right now. So I'm mixing that up. If you can see, I took some of this light apricot, and I took some of this raw sienna, which is kind of like a light brownish, which is a similar color to what I used on the hair, and then I'm mixing that up. So I'm just starting, I think what I figured out, which is good, you can start with a thin coat, very first layer, just to get an idea of the shape that you want to do. And this is a little bit hard for me to do. I'm just trying to get it straight and also thick, you know what I mean? The shadows, I mean the shadows on the clothing. So this is a yellow ochre, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, obviously whatever color of clothing you have in your picture, if you have clothing, I assume, you'll use whatever color you want to match it with. If it's a purple, blue, green, whatever, you'll know when you look at it, obviously. So. But what I'm doing is I'm going to take this shaded area, or this shaded portion, and then I'm just going to mix a little bit of white with this color that I'm using now for the base of the jacket, just to make it a little bit lighter, because I want it to be the same color. I just want it to have these shadows here. Okay, so I flipped this around, and as you can see, it's hard to see there, hold on. You can still see light going through this, a lot of this paint. So that tells me I have to do another layer on top of all of what I did, pretty much. So I'm going to go back, add another layer on top of these that I've already done. And then we'll let it dry and we'll start the next layer. So hang on tight. Okay, so I got this little tin because I had this plastic little palette that I was using that you saw earlier, but it was like the paint was getting stuck on there. It was really hard to clean. So I think these metal tins are better, and that's what Casey was using too. I think he was using some metal tins, but he's also using a squeeze bottle, which I was going to do, but I don't know. I think I'll try that in the next one. Let's just put it that way, because I'm assuming you got to fill it up with a lot of paint, and I'm not really sure. I'm not really experienced enough with paint to know how much I need, and I don't want to put too much or too little in the squeeze bottle. So I'm just using this, and I'm kind of showing you this. I don't want to show you the whole thing, just going over the same area, but I just want to give you an idea of how I'm trying to do it. Like, see how I'm just doing like little drops, where I'm just kind of I'm not doing like a full stroke. I'm just doing like short drops of paint here, because I'm really trying to make it thick and making sure the light doesn't come through the glass. And this has been probably the hardest part for me, is putting enough paint and still having it look like clean, you know. You're not looking like a blobby mess. That's been the challenge. So I'm really trying to take my time and not go too fast here. See, like right here, I don't want to go too fast. Okay, so I added another layer here on the belt, some on the hair, and this is the flipped over side. So here's the side that I'm painting. So you can see that it's pretty globby here because I added, you know, more layer, layer of paint here on the hair. I added some to the arm here because I forgot about that, and also I did this area, the body. I forgot about that. So if you flip that over, now you can see it's darker here. The hand is also darker. I probably can try to put more on there, but you know what? I'm just gonna go with it. It looks like overall it's okay, and we'll let this dry for a little bit, and we'll start the next layers. Oh yeah, and I forgot, for the pants I was using this acrylic paint pen. See, there's more light coming through the pants, so we'll add some more, another layer on top of the pants as well. So you shake this thing, shake, and then I'm just gonna put another layer. I might get more of these pens because they're like using a pen, but it's paint pen, hence the name. So I'm gonna put another layer on top here because I'm gonna let this other layer dry, so I might as well do this at the same time. And when I'm looking at the other videos, I noticed that, you know, on the paint side, it's really like a globby looking thing, so don't worry about that. Just make sure you're getting enough layers where you're blocking any type of light coming through, and it should look, you know, reasonable on the other side. Mine, I think it looks okay. I'm sure as I do more of these glass paintings, that it'll hopefully my skills will get better. But again, this is my first one, and I wanted to share that with you so you can see the real deal on, you know, start to finish. Okay, so now that this first layer has dried, I let it dry for like an hour or so. I'm going to start with the eyes and the teeth area. I'm just going to, oops, this is gray. I'm going to do white. So I'm going to put some white in there, just a little bit. Okay, my bowl. I cleaned my bowl out. So another tip that you should do is you have some rubbing alcohol or nail polish remover, and just right after you paint, while the paint is still wet, just clean your brush in there. So let me get a small brush here. I'm going to get a little detail brush here, and when the paint is wet in here, you also should just try to clean it right away so it doesn't get all hard. So I'm going to go ahead and let's do the mouth. Okay, so I also tried to put the white like on top of the lines a little bit to make sure it was completely, you know, covered so there wasn't any gap. And let's see kind of how that looks. And there you go. Looks pretty good actually. I'm pretty pleased how it came out. So yeah. So again, notice how thick the paint is. See how thick it is? See how gloopy it is? So now, since this area, I'm gonna wait for this to dry. I don't want to do the skin tone yet. I still want to give this a little bit more time to dry. But this shading on the jacket and stuff, I did this yesterday or a couple days ago actually. So this area is pretty dry. So I can go ahead and start doing that, and even the hat. So I use this, it's called yellow ochre for this shading area, and I'm just going to put a little bit of white in there just to make it a little bit lighter so we can see the contrast. It still looks a little bit dark to me, so I may put a little bit more white in there. So a little bit more white inside there. Plop. And that should do it. And then we can paint this. Yeah, that's good. See how it's lighter? No? Lighter color. Okay, I want to make sure I'm on the right side too. Before you start painting, make sure you're on the proper side, not on the reverse side. Oh, there's no paint coming out here. So you gotta, again, make it gloppy. See how thin that is? That's way too thin. This is, and this can go right on top because I already have the front layer, I guess you can say, or the bottom layer. The front layer, yeah, the one that's going to be showing in the front. And you want to get it a little bit over the black lines here because you don't want any gaps in the color. I mean in the, not the color, but you don't want any gaps along the lines. You want it to kind of have total coverage in the area that you are covering, or should I say the area that you're coloring. You want to make sure that's totally covered and looks complete, because when I was doing the white I had to put a little bit over the line, the black line, to because I could see some gaps, basically. Just put it that way. Okay, I did the jacket. I didn't flip it over yet, but I will in a minute. Let me just do the hair first, the darker part of the hair, and I'm just putting a darker brown here. So I just washed this. I want to make sure my brush is dry. I'll wipe my brush a little bit here. Okay. Okay, so I cleaned out my little dish here, because I'm trying to wash it or clean it out when the paint is wet. It's just easier to clean it out before it dries. And now I'm just adding the other layer behind on the hair. Oh, and I gotta be careful. Again, I don't want to get on the face. So I'm thinking it's probably better to nearer to the face to do a thin layer, and again make sure I know where I'm going with my paint. This part is hair, this part is hair. So take a step back and make sure you're doing that, understanding where you are. That's my problem, at least sometimes. I just get excited that I'm actually making some progress, and then sometimes start going too fast. So remember, it's always okay. I'm going to forcibly slow myself down right here. I'm making sure that I slow down. This is a little bit more reddish brown. I don't know if this is the right brown to use, but it's too late now, so sometimes you just gotta roll with it. You know what I mean? Just gotta go with it sometimes. And wish for the best. Hope for the best. Okay, now this is too thick. I was gonna go down here, but amount of paint I have here is too thick, so I'm going to actually wait and put a little drop on the tip so I can come down a little bit sharper here again because this is so close to the skin. I want to make sure I'm being extra cautious. Okay, so I'm going to continue to put this dark layer on top. You got the idea of what I'm doing, and we'll see how it turns out. And then after that, we'll finally do the, actually I'll do the hat, then we'll do the skin. Okay, let's take a look and see how it looks so far, because I know I wanted to show you that. So let me flip this over. So there we go. It's coming together. It's coming together. So now I'm going to do some skin using this apricot color. Again, I have Casey's link below on how to mix the skin tone if you don't have this color pre-mixed. This white around is still a little bit wet, so I'm just going to be very careful because it might bleed together. But I'm just going to put one layer on right now, and then I can touch it up. As the next step. Okay. All right. I gotta be a little bit careful around here because some of this paint is still a bit wet. You should be waiting until it dries, but I'm just trying to get some coverage and see what this skin tone looks like. So again, I'm globbing it on there. There's gonna be some thin areas here because I'm probably gonna wait until it dries a little bit to really get more on there, because I'm just worried some of this paint is a little bit wet still. Let's see what it looks like. Still looks okay actually, but I'm going to stop right here and let it dry, and then I'll pick it up again in a couple hours. Okay, so I let this dry here, and I'm going to continue on with the skin tone to go in. And now, since it's dry, I can kind of go back in the areas that were kind of getting watered down and cover that up. Again, I'm just trying to do it clumpy and in globs. And since everything is dry, I can kind of go over this. Oh, this one got hard here, so that's fine. So I have put all my layers. It's the best I can do. I try to cover some of these holes with a little bit of gray, a little bit of darker color because I saw some light coming through, so I was just giving it a try. I'm not sure if that's the right thing to do, but anyway, let's take a look and I'll flip this thing over. So this is the finished product. I think overall, quite pleased. There are some areas that I can improve. I kind of messed up in the leg area a little bit, I feel. And also you see here by the hand, the finger, got a little bit messed up there, and even this could be a little bit cleaner. A little bit of light coming through in the hair. But overall, I think pretty nice. And I don't know if you can tell, but I used some copper type color here. It's kind of hard to see that. But anyway, there it is. Let me lay it down here like that because it's dry, so remember that. The other side is completely dry. It's been drying for maybe over a day now, so it's nice and solid on the other side. Maybe I'll try to get a frame on there, but I will try painting a background, and we'll see what that looks like. But thank you guys so much. I will show you the finished one with the background on here, and I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Please leave your comments, your suggestions. Let me know what you might want to see next. I'm going to do some more glass painting, not just anime, but other characters as well. And again, I hope you got some good tips from this. Check the links below. I added some links to some other YouTubers that you can benefit from who are really experienced with glass painting in general, and have some cool tips that I had followed on this tutorial as well. Thank you all, and I hope you guys all stay healthy and safe and happy. Take care, everybody.